Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cheryl Fortman. I am the business librarian at Elmhurst Public Library. Welcome to you this morning, and thank you for attending. We are working with People's Resource Center, and I will introduce Paul Lewis to go ahead and get started.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Paul Lewis. I'm the Director of Job Assistance with the People's Resource Center. Wanted to welcome you today to this presentation. I do have a sick child in the background, so if you do hear some crying, that is him. So just a couple quick guidelines for our workshop. So go ahead and mute your sound for the best quality. If you can, if you have questions throughout the presentation, you could just put those in the chat. We'd love to see your face, so feel free to turn on their video if you can. If you don't have the ability to do that, that's okay too, but we just love to see the faces of people that we're presenting to. And like I said, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat. We can monitor that and answer any questions throughout the presentation that you might have. Best optimal viewing experience is the side-by-side mode. So if you just go to view options, click side-by-side, that'll give you the presentation as well as the person who's presenting. So it's the best way to view these types of presentations. So this workshop is being recorded. We are recording it and putting it on some different platforms afterwards. So if you want to refer back to some of the information that was discussed, you'll have the ability to do that. But everything that is said is confidential. We don't take anything that's said over here and share it with anybody else. So I obviously want to thank Cheryl for Elmhurst Public Library for having us here today. So I always like to start off these presentations with just a little bit of background about the People's Resource Center if you're unfamiliar with what we do. So we are a social services agency that offers free services to clients living in DuPage County. We currently have so everything is still kind of in a modified mode with COVID-19. So we have a food pantry, which is no touch, sort of like a curbside pickup model 4 times per week at both our Wheaton and Westlawn locations. We also have a variety of social services and empowerment services that are available free of charge to PRC clients. We have our adult learning and literacy program. We have computer training and access, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, as well as the job assistance program. So these are all virtual right now. And as things kind of change with COVID-19, I won't say getting better or worse, because who knows now what's going to happen. But we're going to be hopefully returning to some level of in-person or hybrid model here in the coming months. I always like to talk a little bit about the PRC computer training program, because I think this is a really great supplement to our job assistance program, as well as some of the information that we're presenting here today. So the PRC training program has a lot of different computer classes. So something as simple if you just need help turning on your computer and learning the basics, to more advanced classes such as learning how to be proficient in Microsoft Word and Office. We have computer classes that can meet any of your needs. We also have a great Microsoft Office Specialist certification program that's self-paced. That gives you the ability to get certified in Microsoft Office. At the end, you take a test. This is a really great thing to put on your resume if you're looking for working for an employer where they use Microsoft Office Suite. It's something really great to put on your resume. And of course, again, I always like to reference this is free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything as long as you're a PRC client. So these are just some computer classes. So some of these have already passed, but we do have a couple other ones coming up in October. So if you are interested in learning more about the computer classes, just reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat at the end, and I can connect you with the person if you're interested in signing up and being a PRC client. So now just a little bit of information about our job assistance program. So we are, like to say, what differentiates us between other jobs programs is we're individualized mentoring. So what that means is that you kind of come in with your goals in mind and what job that you want, and our mentors and our job coaches can kind of meet you where you're at. So something as simple as if, hey, I need help with getting my resume and cover letter modernized or just refreshed. I just need to make sure I have the right content on there to attract employers. We can help you with that. If you just need help with like mock interviews, hey, I'm really nervous when I'm interviewing with people face to face. Can you help coach me through some of these interview questions and how to answer them correctly? We can help you with that. Or if you just come in and say, I need help with everything, I don't even know where to apply for jobs, we can help you with that. So anything that you need, we individualize your coaching experience based on where you're at in your job search. We also offer a couple other things besides individualized mentoring. We have an online PRC job board. I make connections with employers all throughout DuPage County, and they send me open positions that I post on the job board. and I have direct connections with those employers. So it's a really kind of great opportunity to kind of, if you want to avoid applying for jobs on Indeed and just go straight to the source, this job board is a great opportunity to do just that. We also have workshops like this every month. We partner with a variety of other libraries throughout DuPage County. These workshops are accessible to anybody, regardless of whether you're a library card member or not. So this is a great way to get more information and more content on how to be successful in your job search. We also have, it's called the KX self-assessment skills test. So when you come in and say you're looking to change careers, or you want to say, hey, am I qualified? I want to be I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a librarian, but I need to see, do I have the skills and experience needed to land a job in this specific field? We have a self-assessment test that you can take. It's free, and it'll give you a score at the end, so you can see, oh, hey, I scored really high. I definitely have the skills it takes to be an engineer, or, oh, I scored really low. It seems like I need some extra experience or extra education in order to get a job in this specific industry. So this is another widely recognized skills test program. So this is something, if you score really high, you could also put on your resume as well. So it's a really great thing that I don't think a lot of other job assistance programs offer. So that being said, I want to pass it over to Charles Holt. He's one of our awesome job coaches, and he's going to be helping me present today on identifying skills and accomplishments.
All right. Thank you, Paul and Cheryl, for hosting us. Let's talk about what we're doing here today, and that's identifying your skills, your accomplishments. And why is that important? Well, without being able to identify them, you may not be able to include them in your resume. You may not be able to include them in your interview skills. So the goal today is to present yourself, as the first line says, present yourself in the best possible light. I will tell you, I am a believer in that a resume, interview, and a lot of the job assistance process is a sales process. It's preparing for a presentation. You can skip the word sales if that bothers you, but it really, you are there talking about why should an employer purchase, sounds strange, purchase your time, your talent, your skills. That's the reality. That's what an employer does. And you are there to tell them why they should do so. And along those lines, we're going to discuss telling your story. Your story is very important. You are the only one that has your story. Nobody else has your exact story. Nobody has your skills, your accomplishments. The big thing here, I will tell you, is going to be help you understand that confidence is a very, very important thing. Confidence, if you're underconfident in your skills, your abilities, your talent, your ability to interview well, it's going to come across in the interview, might even come across in your resume if you use the wrong words, so to speak. So confidence is a huge thing. And the more you practice these things, the more you understand that the employer is purchasing your skills, your talent, your experience. Maybe it makes it a little better to understand. And I know it's not easy to talk about your accomplishments. We like to be humble. We don't want to be a great big bragger, so to speak. But again, and we'll talk more about this, you are there to talk about your accomplishments. And we'll talk about doing some homework to help you get there, to understand what is an employer looking for, what do they want to see on your resume and hear from you in a phone interview, virtual interview, or in-person interview. Next slide, Paul. Okay, getting to accomplishments and achievements. Here's a little line in red. Remember, job duties, responsibilities are not accomplishments. What are we talking about? And this comes up again in another slide or two, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a washing machine and it breaks and you go out to buy a new washing machine, and there's two washing machines, one has a sales presentation on that washing machine and it says, I wash clothes, okay? That's it. The next one tells you, well, it's got the special spin cycle for this, and it does this, and it does this. The duties for the washing machine is washing clothes. Not very exciting to just say, I'm a washing machine and I wash clothes. A lot better to say, well, you can do this, you can do this. I have this ability and skill that my neighbor, the washing machine next to me doesn't have. And that may be a poor example, but that's really what job duties, what I call job duties, just listing. If I was a server at a restaurant, a job duty would be, I picked up plates from the kitchen and I took them and I put them on people's tables. If I told you I did that, not all that exciting. So that's what a job duty is. We're going to concentrate on accomplishments, not your job duties. And it's a 4-phase thing: information gathering, preparing your story, matching skills, putting it all together. That's what's going to be covered in this workshop. Next. All right, and again, this is just a little outline. I won't dwell on this too much. Number 1, identify your target position and industry. We'll discuss that a little more. Do a blank application. Important to have your information correctly done one time, and then that will help you fill in job applications as you go forward and not try to remember what were the dates, what was this, what was that. We'll spend a fair amount of time on tools like Onact, which can help you identify, do I have the skills for this position, particularly if you're switching careers, which is a pretty common thing today. There's nothing too unusual about that. Power statement, I'm not going to get into that right now. We will go into the power statement, situation, action, results. Me in 30 seconds. That's a typical opening question in an interview. And if I was interviewing Paul, I'd say, Paul, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Give me a little background. Tell me the background story. That's what the me in 30 seconds is. And we call it that because if you're in an elevator, maybe you have, with the hiring manager, maybe you have 30 seconds to make an impression, to warm up that person that they should continue listening to you. But we will get into that down the line. And then matching your skills and accomplishments. That's a big thing, matching your skills and accomplishments. You don't see job duties in there. And I know I'm maybe grinding this in a little bit about job duties, but as a job coach, I do see a lot of resumes that start out as exactly that, just the duties. And that's not very exciting. It's not saying to me as a purchaser, if I'm an employer, well, okay, they did their job, wonderful. So what else is new? That's not really something that makes me want to hire a person. And when you're done, you'll be able to prepare answers to questions and things like that and update your LinkedIn profile. Next. Okay, information gathering. It all starts with information gathering. And what's information gathering? And I know that little red circle ball is a little hard to read, so I'll tell you what it says. Information gathering. In the middle is information, personal information, just your personal information, your work history, your skills, things like that. And then it would also include your accomplishments. Again, not work duties. This is not a work duties workshop, not at all. And after that comes skills and recognition. So it's your personal information, your accomplishments, your skills and recognition. From that is going to flow all these little arrows that go in every direction. That's going to help you. You can't do a resume without knowing your skills and accomplishments. You can't interview well if you don't know your skills and accomplishments. And there's a few others there. Helps with tell me about yourself. Help identify career direction. And we'll chat a little bit more about that. Identifying, here's my skills. Okay, I know what I did in the past. For whatever reason, I would like to change careers. Are these skills transferable, and what are they transferable to? So we'll talk a little bit about that also. So gather your information. Can't go anywhere if you don't do that. Next. All right. And again, this flows from what we covered in the last few slides. Get a job application. We have, when you get involved with a program at PRC, we do have job applications blank. You can get these online, not anything too difficult. Do one before you start applying for jobs and keep it on by your computer and fill it in. Make sure you get everything right. It'll make it a lot easier, than every time saying, oh, I forgot, when was I at that job, your work history. salary, little red words next to it. Illinois employers cannot ask salary history. And I hear this all the time. Well, I'm applying at this company and it's a nationwide company and they're asking, what did I make in my last job? And there's a little red star next to it, which means if you don't fill it in, you're going to keep getting an error message when you click on continue at the bottom of the page. If they're only an Illinois employer, that shouldn't be on their resume or on their application. That should not be up there. National companies, government, if you wanted to work for the Elmhurst Library, I'm sure they are exceptions to it. Government and companies that have out-of-state operations, and you might actually, your application might go to California. They don't really care too much about that. So military record, volunteer experience, and we'll chat a little bit more about that as we go down the line. So nothing too complicated here. Just do one, fill it out, and get it, make sure it's accurate. Next. All right, now here's something a little more exciting. This is called Onact, and this is an online site that will help you with your job search. It'll help you with identifying your skills and accomplishments, it'll help seeing what are they transferable to, what other type of career could I use with my skills and my, what my abilities are. This is a free site. We like free things at PRC. Job coaching, and I'm sure Paul said this and I was sleeping and missed it, but all of our programs are free, including our job assistance program. So we're kind of like Onact. Onact is a government website. This is U.S. Department of Labor Statistics, big mouthful. It's the federal government, and you don't get charged for this. I've used it for about 5 years. I've never gotten an email back from them. No upgrading to premium editions, nothing like that. You get nothing back from them. It's a one-way thing. Basically, Onact, you can go to this site and it's up there. Really the main part of it is Onact. It's not a zero. It's like 1 ton line, 3 W's, 1 TONLINE.org. And then you can click through to get to this desk aid that is exhibited up there. And again, this is a little hard to read, but this can help you identify what skills are needed for the position you're looking for. You can actually get 10, 20 page reports on a position if you wanted to be, a nurse. What do nurses really do? What does an RN do? This can really drills down. It even gets into what do they do in the normal course of a day? Well, they do walking, they do this, they do that. It's pretty specific. So go to Onact. You can look at this online desk aid. I can't read everything that's up there, so I'm not going to make it up, but go to that Onact online. You can do a search for your intended career. If you don't know, you can do research called My Next Move, which also is linked into this Onact. Here's one for you. You can do a skill. You can put your skills in, click on your skills, and it'll come up with a list of occupations that might be suitable for you. So excellent site, Onact online. Next. All right, this is a little more readable. And again, what the desk aid tells you, let's see, tasks, technology, skills and tools, knowledge, skills. Again, you don't see duties. You do see work activities, but that could be a little bit different than duties. Work context. Do you work alone? Do you work with a group of people? Work values. That's interesting. Values are, I think, a pretty important thing. And in your career, you spend a lot of time at your job, and you want to make sure their values of your employer kind of align with yours. I think that's a good thing. Work styles, cooperation, things like that. So those are all the helps. These are helps that you can get through this Onact online desk aid. And it'll tell you education. Well, if I need a doctorate for this position that I'm looking at, and I have a bachelor, it's either I go back to school for a few years or I look at something else. Probably you take a pass and look for something that really works for you education-wise. Next. All right, here's something to wake us up, a little red triangle. And what is this? Well, there's three parts to telling your story. And the base of it is power statements. And we'll give examples, so I'll hold off on giving you any right now. SAR, which is situation, action, result, statements, and me in 30 seconds, which I already gave you a hint that that's at the beginning of the interview. That's the hierarchy, and you can see where the base is, power statements, because power statements can kind of flow up and be incorporated in your me in 30 seconds, actually. And we will give you, Paul and I will give you some examples as we move on. Next. All right, here we are, right at the base, power statements, the base of that nice triangle. What is a power statement? It's identifying a value, skill, or strength or accomplishment you want to highlight that relates to your employment objective. Giving an example of that skill. Show the result of your skill. We speak a lot about metrics, and that's saying an example is, and way down at the bottom, we'll get into it, it's a dollar amount or a percentage amount, something that you can really grab onto and say, I saved the company X amount of dollars. This increased by this percentage, or a little different examples. Try to get metrics in. And make sure your statement is consistent with the needs or goals of the organization. Yeah, I would hope so. Again, it's pretty easy today to go online and find out goals, visions, about us. Every company has some PR, and that's what it is, PR about the company. And that will be valuable also. You just want to be consistent. Here's the example at the bottom. As a purchasing manager, it's important for me to be accurate and attentive. And those are words which probably should be in your resume. We call them keywords, and Paul will discuss that a little later on. That's called matching. Okay, not a bad example to have that to have those words in your resume. And here was the power statement. I discovered and fixed a mistake on a large internal order before it was placed, saving the company $5,000. Okay, you're interviewing, and this is a power statement. Let's say this is an interview situation. This power statements are also used in your resume, but can also be used in your resume. But what does this do? I'm sitting there and I'm interviewing Paul, and Paul tells me, whoa, I just saved the last company I worked with, I saved them $5,000 because I was accurate, I was attentive, I didn't let it just slide by me, I caught it, and I saved the company $5,000. Well, guess what? If I was busy thinking about something else, that $5,000 caught my ears, and it's like, gee, maybe if I hire Paul, he can do the same thing for me. So that's really the idea behind power statements. How do they translate? How are they relatable to the next position? Things you've done in the past. Again, accomplishments, not work duties. Next. All right. I'm not going to say this again. You're probably tired of hearing me say about the difference between job duties and skills and accomplishments, so I won't. Here's an example of a duty, proficient in Excel and Word. Here's a much better one, which sets you apart, because a lot of resumes, a lot of people say, well, I'm proficient in Excel and Word. How about this one? I received my MOS, which is Microsoft Office Specialist certification from People's Resource, well, in 2021. So I'm up to date. I'm not stuck on Microsoft Word version 2003. Well, right there, you're saying that your skills are current. If you can throw a recent certification in, something like that. This team player thing is actually overused, just my opinion. And everybody likes to stick this in their resume. I am a team player. I've been told I'm a team player. Oh, okay, better than nothing. But wouldn't it be a lot better to say, my team of 6 people received the President's Top Department Performance Award in 2019. You can kind of see the difference. And again, I'll just say this again. You have 2 big sales presentations in the job process, your resume and your interview. Those are your 2 big ones where you can shine. And you can see the difference if you were reading resumes or interviewing people all day long and Charles sits there and says, yeah, I'm a team player. And I've heard that, and the person interviewed me has heard that 20 times already today. Not going to be too exciting. But again, if I can say that my team received this big department award, it really does make a difference. Next. All right. I guess we could have a test, see how quick everybody could read these words and memorize them, but I think that would not be a fair test. There's a lot of great words out there that you don't necessarily use in everyday language. Don't be afraid to use these words. A lot of them are verbs. A lot of them say a lot more than the common variety word we may use for it. Analytical, for example, great word. Every employer, I would assume every employer wants somebody that can analyze a situation. I don't care if you're at a checkout lane or if you're the COO of a company, chief operating officer. You want somebody that can analyze a situation because there's different situations come up every day. That's analytical. Don't be afraid to use these kind of words. Another word that I really like is called collaborative. Instead of team player, I collaborate with my group, my team, if you want to say that. Collaborative, good word. And again, I know we don't always use these in everyday language. Don't be afraid to use it. But again, they're all verbs for the most part. Or adjectives that really say something good about you. Enthusiastic, that's one of my favorites. And good judgment, grateful, you can just go on and on. Teachable, okay, instead of saying I'm a quick learner, you could say I'm teachable. Sounds a little better maybe. Teachable, that I like learning, I'm teachable. I'm not too old to learn, I can still learn new things, certainly a good thing. Go with good words. You can pick these up off the internet. You'll also be able to access this, as Paul said, in various platforms after this workshop. So don't try to write all these words down. You're not going to have time. And we'll move on to the next page. All right, here's accomplishments. And these are examples. I'm just going to pick one. I'm not going to go through all 3 of them. Let's do number 2. The company was updating its processes. The data processing, I assume, is what they're referring to. And what did this person do? They took Excel and Word classes at PRC, that's People's Resource Center, at night. This person took some initiative. If you follow down, you'll see what are the skills or traits for doing this. They had some personal drive. They took this at night. They didn't get paid for doing it. They did not say, well, you know, the Cubs are playing tonight. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, tomorrow this show is on or this thing is on. No, they had personal drive. That took precedence, the ability to push yourself to do something extra. They were teachable. Good word again, teachable. And they had commitment. Were committed to the job. If I had an employee that we were struggling with our data processing system, and they came to me and says, Charles, I've just done this. I've taken these classes at PRC and I've got the answer how to make our system more efficient. You know what? When review time comes up or sooner, I think that person other examples, you can kind of see them. Received a promotion, received my QuickBooks, that you did something. That's why did you receive a promotion? Because I received my QuickBooks certification. Role as a receptionist, expanded to include filling in for other departments where needed. Yeah, that shows flexibility, that you could jump in and start doing something that you didn't normally do as part of your normal work routine. Next. And this is just a blank thing that you can fill in yourself. I'm not going to fill it in for you. Everybody has different accomplishments. And I'll tell you what is hard for a lot of clients, it's to remember, what are these accomplishments? Well, we tend to think about our work duties. We don't often think about accomplishments. This takes some introspection, some thinking about, yes, and I'm not saying 30 years ago or 20, or even, let's say in the past 10 years, you kind of have some quiet time, sit down and know, I was at XYZ company from 2012 to 2014. Not what did I do there? What did I accomplish there? That's really what we want to get to. And that does require some thinking. And without these statements, without these accomplishments, you're just going to end up with work duties. And that's not going to be a great resume, not going to be a great interview thing either. So try to do this, come up with the skills or traits needed for accomplishment, which could also be transferable to a new occupation if you're thinking of changing fields. Next. All right, SAR, situation, action, result. These are what we call behavioral type of questions, or your responses. And situation, what needed solving? There's something that needs to be taken care of. That's the situation. Action, what did you do about it? Did you just throw up your hands and leave early for the day and leave it up to the next person? Like, oh, I remember doing this at the company I used to work for. The copy machine would get jammed up, and these were big, giant machines. And I got frustrated and like, whoops, I just walked away from it. Okay, did I do the right thing there? No, I didn't. We've all done the wrong thing on occasion, but that's certainly not something you want to give as an example. So you got to take some positive action, not disappearing and hoping the next person deals with it. And the result, you want to have it, the only result is a good one that counts. Hopefully you don't have any with a bad result. If you did, that's certainly not one you want to use in your resume or in an interview type of situation. Next. All right, these are some examples, and I'll just do the first one. There was a disagreement I had with a coworker, which originated from a miscommunication. To keep our work environment professional and positive, we had to discuss it and make amends. I sat down with him one day during lunch, paid for our meal, and took initiative by apologizing for my part in the whole ordeal. Now we work well together and are often praised for our impressive teamwork. All right, great example. And why does this really cover a number of items? Miscommunication. Most issues are miscommunication. A person told you to do this thing and you heard something else. That's a miscommunication. And you can correct that. How do you correct it? You go to the person, you communicate with them, you sit down with them. This person was really sharp, took their supervisor for lunch and paid for it. That's not a bad idea, quite frankly. But admitting, Paul, I had no idea what you were trying to accomplish. And that's why I was upset with you, because I did not realize that what you wanted to accomplish. You listen to the other person, you find out what they're trying to accomplish, and then you can see their side of it, their understanding of the project, and then you can work well together. And actually, that's a great example of life, listening to others, not just reacting before you really know what they're talking about. So that's the situation. Situation, the action, they went for lunch, the result, great result. The restaurant one, I won't read it all. Basically, it's about a health inspection at a restaurant and the last minute inspection kind of a thing. And they had the last shift employees help out, make it right for the inspection. And they had a good inspection. So again, situation, action I took, result, that's situation, action, result. These are common questions. This is not an interview workshop, but I will tell you, you will see and hear a lot of these. Tell me about a time you had a dispute with a coworker, a customer, a client. Did you ever make a mistake at work? These are all this type of question, situation, action, result. Very, very important to get this down. Next. All right, and this is just a little graphic chart that you can do yourself. Situation, action, result. Come up with some examples. I will tell you, in an interview, you're sitting there and Paul says to you, tell me about a time you had a misunderstanding with your supervisor. And a minute goes by and you say nothing and you're fumbling around. You don't have anything prepared. I will tell you, Paul is not going to be impressed with that. It's not going to be, if you can't come up with situations, because all of us have, this is life. Life happens. There are going to be situations. There are going to be actions you have to take, and there's going to be results. Know what this is. Write it down. Practice it. Practice it with a friend, with any. Practice it yourself in the mirror, get it down. So when these behavioral questions are asked, you have it right. Don't wait to the last minute. Get some examples of these situational type questions. Next. All right, me in 30 seconds. I alluded to that briefly earlier in the presentation. And that's the old elevator thing. That's you're in the elevator with Paul. Paul is a hiring manager, and somehow Paul finds out you're the person that he's going to be interviewing, and very shortly, and you tell Paul a little bit about yourself. But they want to hear not about your Aunt Betty's apple pies, which are delicious, by the way. That's not what Paul is interested in. Unless it's lunchtime, maybe he would be interested in apple pie. But seriously, it's your past experiences, proven success. I was, very easy for me. I was in sales, and I realized that in different fields, different careers, not as easy to say. I was salesperson of the month for 6 months running. Pretty easy for me to say that. Yours is going to obviously be a little bit different. And we've talked about that. Accomplishments. What did you accomplish? I had a client recently that worked for a company that was still hand addressing envelopes and sticking postage stamps on them and sending out 20 of these a day. They had never heard of mail merge. So this person introduced them to mail merge, and they started being profitable because they found out, oh, mail merge, something new and exciting. Well, for them it was. So that would be a simple, successful thing. Your strengths and your abilities. And again, this is 30 seconds. This is not, you're not writing a novel here. Just short 10-second clips, and conclude with a statement about your current situation. I'm excited to interview with XYZ company because you are a great supporter of PRC, and I'm very familiar with PRC, just a simple example that I would use. And I love to interview with a company that has the same values that I do. So that's me in 30 seconds. And let's see what's on the next slide. Oh, okay, some more. So these I don't have to make up. I can just read one off to you. I'm going to pick the middle one. I always say go with the middle, right? If there's 3 questions, A, B, C, B is probably a good choice. So number B, I am a friendly, dedicated customer service associate with over 5 years experience in retail sales. What did you say in that first sentence? Friendly, dedicated, great words. The job is obviously customer service, and you're saying, I have 5 years. I'm not a total beginner with this thing. I've learned at the School of Hard Knocks at customer service. 5 years, you are going to learn a lot. I'm a college graduate. I volunteer weekly at People's Resource Center. How nice. In the food pantry, assisting clients with their food selections. Well, if you can throw in something like that, I think that's a wonderful thing. It goes to character, shows that you are willing to help others. If you were a hiring manager, do you want somebody that only helps himself or somebody that is willing to help others? I think willing to help others, and that includes your co-workers. My passion is to provide excellent customer service, and will provide excellent customer service will make me the type of employee you want in your organization. Great line. Again, remember, you want to position yourself as, and here's a new word for you, as an asset for the company to hire, not a liability, as an asset. And those words may sound like accounting words, asset, liability, but companies either look at employees, Paul will be a great asset to this organization, or if we hire Paul, he's going to be a liability. You don't want to be on the liability side. And these you can read at your own time, and it depends where you are in life and where your background, but that's a simple example of me in 30 seconds. It doesn't talk about that I like fishing or anything too personal, really. It's how does it relate? Why are you going to spend time interviewing me? That's what me in 30 seconds is a quick example of. Next. All right, and again, this is just a little chart type of a thing. Personal introduction. Why am I here? Well, because I'm a dedicated customer service person, 5 years experience, unique skills that, again, not work duties, but skills or characteristics, all those words on that page with 50 or 75 words. If you could grab some good words and put them in for your characteristics, generous, sharing, a lot of good words out there that could apply to you. And the close, your value. And again, that goes to, are you going to be a valued employee? Or as I like to say, are we going to hire an asset? Okay. That's really what it comes down to, what the 30-second speech is, also called elevator speech, also just a common first question out of the box when you interview. And that sets the tone for the rest of the interview. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Paul.
Thanks, Charles. Great job as always. So now I'm going to talk to you about matching your skills and accomplishments to the job requirements. This is a lot of what you're going to be tying your skills to when you're doing your cover letter. So why match your skills in the first place? So matching your qualifications to the requirements of a job is a very important step. So linking examples that demonstrate your experience, skills, and knowledge to the employer helps you do the following. So decide if the job will showcase all of your talents in a meaningful way, visually see how you fit into the role, and tailor your cover letter and resumes to the position. So, in a nutshell, basically what you're trying to do here is, when you're searching for jobs online or I guess in the newspaper, if that's something that you're still doing, this is a really good opportunity for you, after you've kind of, done all the exercises that Charles has talked about. This is for you to see, is this a job that I'm qualified in doing? And so this is how you can match the job description, what they want, the requirements of the job, and then you can match it up to see, do I have the skills and experience to be successful in this role? So, we talk a little bit about here. So these are just some examples of some of the things that you might see in a job posting. So, and these are things that you're going to want to make sure when you're submitting. And this is mostly really tying into the cover letter piece. So most jobs are going to ask you to submit a resume and cover letter. Your resume is really going to speak to some of the hard skills that you have. So your education, your work experience, but your cover letter is really should portray some of the soft skills that you have and some of the, you can able to go more in depth with the skills that you've accomplished in your previous job. So here's just a few examples. So if the employer asks that you must be proficient at using Microsoft Office applications, you're going to want to put a sentence or two in your cover letter, specifically how you meet that skill. And that's basically just as you're going, down the different bullet points of the job description, you're going to want to make sure that all of those bullet points, especially, the first few, which I think are some of the main skills and requirements that job is going to want you to have. You're going to make sure that those are easily laid out in your cover letter, and you can speak more in depth to those, why you have those matching skills. And again, some of the accomplishments that you've had in your previous job. So, one thing to note here, if you look at some of the different examples on the right, when you're entering your skills in your cover letter, you can start each statement with a verb. So this denotes action and shows that you bring strength and meaning to the skills and qualifications that you match. So this shows that you have really hard experience and accomplishments in the specific skills and requirements that job is asking you to do. So, and once again, this is just some templates that you can use. I know we've had a lot of those in those presentations. So Cheryl, what I'll actually do today, if this is helpful, I can send everybody a PDF version of the presentation. So if you want to have some of these templates that you can start using on your own, if you want to start, working on some of these things and jotting down some of your skills and experience, you can have some templates that you can use as a basis to start. So, and this section is, we really just want to make sure that, in your cover letter, you present to the employer what makes you unique. So, it's kind of going back to what Charles says, is you want to make sure that you're using supercharged words or power words. So you want to make sure that your cover letter isn't bland, using, words and common phrases that people kind of use on a daily basis. So, a perfect example, I'll just give you a few examples here. So everybody, you constantly hear, oh, I'm a hard worker. Well, what makes you a hard worker? You want to go a little bit more in depth. I'm a hard worker because I go the extra mile. I stay and get projects accomplished, even if it means working a little bit late or working at night. I'm resourceful. I can take the limited resources that my company had and stretch those resources to the max. Still accomplishing the goals that my company needs to make with potentially less than what other companies accomplish those goals with. So you want to make sure that you provide examples. So always make sure, some of the things that I used to do when I was working on resumes with people, I would kind of skim through their cover letter, skim through their resume and say, okay, here's a really common word. I'm a team player. And sometimes, it's something as simple as this, like, you can Google synonyms for team player. Or what's another example of being a team player, and Google can provide you sometimes 50, 60 different words, and you can kind of search through those words and say, yeah, team player, oh, it's I'm collaborative, or I'm a problem solver, or I'm a group leader. So there's different phrases that you can use to make you stand out by using those so-called power words. So words that maybe just kind of accentuate that specific skill that you have and make you stand out by using words that you maybe don't otherwise use in everyday language. So you're putting all this stuff together in an interview. So you want to make sure, when you're going in, whether you're putting this in your cover letter or you're preparing for that in-person interview, you want to make sure that you have some very specific points about what makes you uniquely qualified for the job. So again, as Charles was saying, if you're getting to the interview process, they've already scanned your interview, or you scanned your resume, so they know that you meet the basic qualifications. So now is your chance to really prove yourself in that one-to-one conversation with the interviewer why you're the best person for this job. And so, these are a few examples on the bottom of just some ways that you can kind of phrase that to make you stand out from other candidates. So, I've interviewed a lot of people. When I was a manager at my previous job, I had anywhere from 8 to 9 direct reports, and these were entry-level jobs. So I was interviewing people all the time, and I always asked them to start with their elevator speech, that tell me about yourself. And I can figure out usually within 30 seconds to a minute, just by the way that they're answering that question, whether or not they're going to be qualified for that job. And you can tell if they've practiced and they've come prepared. If their elevator pitch is 7 minutes long and I've had, I can share countless stories of, interviewees that, told me, stuff about their personal life, what their favorite beverage was or where they went on vacation, things like that. And I just, it's like, you're not answering the questions, you're not being succinct. And even if you're, a really good conversationalist, you want to make sure that, you're keeping things succinct. And even with the elevator speech, you're asking to, get this done in 30 seconds. You should consider that for every other interview question that the employer is asking you. You never want to go off on a tangent. And I'm guilty of this myself. I can be very long-winded, but it's something that I'm very, I'm very cognizant of. So you want to make sure that, as Charles is saying, you want to practice your answers to some of these common interview questions, so you know that you're really just presenting the best version of yourself during these interviews. And I'll note a couple of points 3 and 4. Be honest in the interview. So, why are you looking for a new opportunity? Be honest. There's lots of reasons why we're all looking for different jobs right now. Could be, work-life balance. It could be because, you got laid off during COVID. Just be honest with them. Hey, my position was eliminated due to COVID, and I'm looking for a new full-time, work experience. And I did some research on your company. I really align with your mission and values, and I think this could be a good fit for the next stage of my career. So just be honest. I think interviewers and employers appreciate honesty. And another big thing too is, at the end of the interview, if you really think this is going to be a good position for you, you should tell the employer, hey, I really enjoyed meeting with you. I really feel, during this discussion that, my skills and accomplishments and previous work experience would make me a great fit for this role. I'm really excited about this opportunity. And here's again, leave them with, here's what makes me qualified for the position. You always want to leave on a positive note. The employer needs to know that you want the job, and they need to know, really quickly why you're the best person for that role. So that's okay to kind of, as you're standing up, giving them a handshake. I guess if people still give people handshakes now post-COVID, but make sure, you leave on a positive note. Let them know that you want the job. Let them know just really briefly why you're going to be the best candidate for that job. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, so, now you can kind of see how information gathering will help you with other parts of your search. So the best interviewers, the best people that are applying for the jobs, really, for every, 30 minutes that you're spending applying for a job, going on the company website, filling in all the same stuff that, applying for jobs is very repetitive, but, for every 30 minutes it might take to apply for a job, it's always a good idea to spend an extra hour of research. So making sure that you're researching your company, making sure that you're really, you have all of the skills and accomplishments lined up, so you can make clear on the interview why you're the best person for the job. So you should always make sure that you're not applying for 100 jobs in one day, through those Indeed one clicks. If you're applying for 2 to 3 jobs per day, or even 1 job per day, you want to make sure that you do it correctly, because that's what's really going to give you the best shot at getting past the applicant tracking system, matching your qualifications with the job description, and landing that initial phone interview. So congratulations. So you've gotten past the applicant tracking system, you applied for the job, and you've got a call and a request for a phone interview or an in-person interview. A lot of companies will, start with just a quick 20-minute phone interview. Some, if they really want to hire that position really quickly, they might just say, hey, let's get you in, let's get you through an hour interview. Sometimes you might interview with one person, sometimes it might be an interview panel. So now you need to be prepared for that interview. So just a couple of bullet points. Obviously, be on time. If your interview is at 10 o'clock in the morning, try to get there at 9:40. You never want to put it to chance. If traffic is going to be worse than usual, or if you're taking, public transportation, that the bus is going to be late or the train's going to be late, you want to get there. You want to get there early, because getting there early is getting there on time. I think a lot of these we've already talked about: being prepared, being positive and confident, doing your homework beforehand, practicing your answers to common interview questions in the mirror. Sometimes it's even good if you have the ability to record yourself, either on your cell phone, or even if you have like a Zoom account or something like that, a free Zoom account, and you want to record yourself responding to common interview questions. That's a great way to be prepared, so you can see how you would come across to the interviewer. Speak clearly, be succinct, and be respectful of your contact's time. So again, just kind of going back to what we're saying, don't spend 20 minutes answering one interview question. Make sure that you are answering the specific question that they're answering or they're asking, and making sure to do it in anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And I think that STARS approach that Charles went over is really helpful because that helps keep your answers really succinct. So as we wrap up, I want to just pause to remind you about the PRC Job Assistance Program. So if you like what you heard today and you are interested in becoming a PRC Jobs client, there's a couple different ways to do it. You can start by, there's the 630-682-5402 number. You can call that number, dial extension 333. What what will happen is you'll get a voicemail, and you can leave your name and number on that voicemail. And one of our administrative assistants from PRC will usually call you back within 48 hours. Do a brief survey with you over the phone and get you enrolled in one of our orientations. So all of our orientations are virtual right now. We offer the orientation 2 times a month, once in the morning and then the second orientation in the afternoon. So it's a 2-parter, just because we go over so much information. But we try to be flexible with people. So if you are working during the day and you're not able to attend the orientations, we can try to work with you to get you the information that you need to become a client. And again, we offer an individualized mentoring experience. So if you just need help, answering common interview questions, if you need help just getting your resume and cover letter modernized and ready for applying for jobs, we have a team that can help you do that. If you just need help saying, hey, like I really just need to figure out, what are some things that I'm qualified for? What are some jobs that might be a good fit for me? Just having a conversation with your job coach and kind of exploring some of the different things that we talked about today. Sometimes just bouncing ideas and bouncing questions off another person can be really helpful. If you want to check us out, you can go to peoplesrc.org. If you want to learn more about job assistance or other services we offer, you can go to the top left-hand corner under services. That'll break down all the different things that we offer. If you go to job assistance, it'll again give you that 333 number that you can call. If you'd rather just do a quick Google form online, below that is you'll see a link that says click here. That'll take you to a Google form, which takes about 2-3 minutes to fill out. Once you complete that, that'll go into our system, and then our administrative assistance team will give you a call back again in 48 hours to get you set up with that orientation. So there's a couple different ways that you can become a PRC client. So now I wanted to open this up if anybody had any questions about the presentation or anything else about PRC that we can answer.